Boriska Kipriyanovich, 22, is a phenomenon that has astounded experts by his profound knowledge of outer space. Since he was a child, he claimed that in a previous life, he was a Martian and had flown to ancient Egypt as a pilot. Boriska Kipriyanovich said the Martians had a strong bond with the ancient Egyptians on Earth. He said life on Earth will change when the Egyptian Sphinx statue in Giza is unlocked, adding that it has an unlock mechanism in the back of the ear. He said, humanity's life will change when the Sphinx is opened. It has an opening mechanism somewhere behind the ear of the statue. I don't remember exactly. According to media reports in Russia in 2004, a mysterious boy less than 10 years old claimed to be from Mars. He has two characteristics that are completely different from other boys his age. Firstly, he has an unusually rich knowledge in all. Secondly, mastering specialized terms, can meticulously grasp and authenticate documents related to the universe, even familiar with the history of Mars and the Earth. The boy's view of the Earth for humanity and the future is truly amazing. Boriska was born on January 11, 1996, in a remote rural hospital in Russia's Volgograd North. His parents were kind, plain, and honest people. His mother, Nadezhda, works as a dermatologist for a public hospital, and his father is an army officer. Mrs. Nadezhda recalled that since Boriska was born, there were many strange things happening around him. When he was 15 days old, he was able to raise his head and call two words father. By the time he was 1.5 years old, he could read the headlines in the newspapers. And one thing that makes it even more unbelievable is that the boy can hold a pen. And one day, Mrs. Nadezhda wrote two words to a university professor and was told that it was Hon, and that these two words mean China. Ms. Nadezhda shared that she and her husband had never learned Chinese characters and had no one to teach him since the age of 2. He has an extraordinary memory and makes it difficult for others to believe in his ability to learn and grasp new knowledge. His mother recalled, sometimes I see him sitting in a chair, eloquently talking about the world, which is beyond our imagination. Boriska loves to talk about Mars and distant civilizations. At that time, we really did not dare to believe what our ears heard. Since the age of 2, every day is like chanting. He was talking about the universe, about endless stories in other worlds. From there, Boriska relentlessly told his parents that he had lived on Mars before, that Mars was once inhabited, but because of a devastating disaster, the atmosphere on Mars was almost gone. The Martians could not continue to live on it, but had to come down to Earth. The Martian boy also shared. At that time, he often drove the spacecraft to visit the Earth by himself. His aim was to take the quest and reincarnate into a family in Western China. However, what is the specific task? I don't remember. In 2006, a local witness revealed that a few years ago, on a quiet night, when the campers were sitting in front of the fire, Boriska suddenly stood up and shouted loudly. To attract everyone's attention, the witness continued to say, we were curious about what he wanted to say until later, when he said he wanted to share with everyone about life on Mars, about the people on Mars, and the miracle that he had created, experienced while flying to Earth. What was unimaginable was when the boy vividly described the myth of the ancient Lemurian continent being mysteriously sunk to the bottom of the Indian Ocean. According to the boy, when he landed from Mars on Earth, he landed from here and knew the life here as if in the palm of his hand. Lemuria is a mysterious land that appeared in legend 800,000 years ago. Lemuria, or Amu, a continent that existed in the Pacific around the same time as Atlantis, seems to have been forgotten. Whether it is the spiritual opposite of Atlantis, according to Aboriginal legends on many islands, the tropical paradise Mu is located somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. but was submerged with its inhabitants many years ago. Don't talk about children. Even college professors don't know these things. However, the boy can be familiar with every detail of the history and civilization of the ancient nation and describe it as grasping it firmly in the palm of his hand. Cases where children can remember their past are no longer rare, and reincarnation is no longer a new topic even in the scientific community. Carl Sagan, an American astronomer and biologist, even acknowledges the fact that reincarnation deserves serious study. The problem is that sometimes children remember the information of their past lives accurately, with no more logical explanation than reincarnation. There are some very specific examples, many of which were discovered by University of Virginia psychiatrist Jim Tucker, who is arguably the world leader in this area. In 2008, he published an article on alleged reincarnation-like cases in a magazine. A typical instance of reincarnation is described by Jim, including a description of the subject's experience in a past life. Interestingly, the subjects accurately describe their past lives, which is the average age when these children began to remember their past lives, is about 35 months old, and the description of past life events and experiences is often specific information, memorable details in life. This information cannot be known by anyone else, except they themselves have experienced it. They were taken to their past life families, confirming their professional addresses and other details of their past lives. There are many people who believe that reincarnation is real, but is it the only path or just one of many different paths for the human soul after death? Some people believe that there are souls that can reincarnate into another person, as we saw above. Others can reincarnate on another planet, becoming extraterrestrials. They even believe that reincarnation is only a choice of the soul. Other possibilities, including the choice to go to other dimensions and experience life there, or the choice not to reincarnate and experience immaterial life. Is it possible for a soul to be forced to reincarnate until it is enlightened and reaches a new level? Or perhaps the soul originated somewhere? There are so many questions, so many possibilities, and reincarnation could be one of them. Therefore, what Boriska recounts is most likely a memory from a previous life on Mars. Boriska described many of the modern ships on Mars. Different planetary races, their technologies, and wars have happened in the past. He described ion-powered ships and other ships with extremely high energy. The Martians did not use oil or natural gas because their engines were so powerful that soon their resources ran out. When asked about UFOs, the boy said that he often saw teardrops rather than traditional pants. One expert asked Boriska why human spacecraft often crash on approach to Mars, the Martian. He replied that the Martians had emitted a special signal to destroy the toxic radioactive objects that had afflicted them. According to Boriska, there were many bloody wars, destroying many things on the Red Planet, destroying the atmosphere and disturbing the population. He talked about the technology that helps to explode Jupiter in order to turn it into the second sun. Thus, the people here will have enough energy to use. However, before this technology was used, war broke out and things went chaotic. Novelist Nikolai Levashov has written many good books about the universe and the galaxy, including a mention of war in the galaxies that once broke out on Mars over thousands of years. There was a paragraph in that interview: "We are not afraid to die because we are immortal." And there was a catastrophic accident on Mars where I was born and raised. People like me still live there. Nuclear war was fought on Mars. Everything was burned. Only a few people survived. They had built a shelter and created new weapons. Everything changed. The Martians mostly breathed in carbon dioxide. If they flew to Earth, they would have to swoop down chimneys emitting this gas, Boriska said. So why are you from Mars and you don't need carbon dioxide? I am in the form of this person, so I have to breathe with oxygen. But you know that oxygen makes people age quickly, Boriska replied. In terms of conventional scientific knowledge, it is true that breathing oxygen will make people as old as he says. What about nuclear war? According to Dr. John Brandenburg, from the University of California, there is enough evidence that at least 2 large nuclear explosions have occurred on the surface of Mars in the past. This conclusion is based on traces of radioactive elements and depressions on the Martian surface. In other words, he suggested that Mars once had a civilization capable of developing an atomic bomb. Boriska has taken the world from surprise to surprise. But the fact that he is from Mars has yet to be answered. What do you think of what this boy said? Leave a comment below.